Gnostic metaphysics reveals a sacred science once whispered by mystics and hidden within the true law of attraction. As you listen, you'll awaken to the forgotten truth that creation flows through alignment, not force or striving. You are not seeking power outside yourself. You are remembering the divine intelligence that has always been expressing itself as you. Gnostic Metaphysics. Introduction. Across forgotten centuries, keepers of hidden wisdom spoke of a veiled doctrine known only to those who listened inwardly. This sacred knowing was never meant to be practiced as technique, but remembered as truth, a realization of your own divine origin. In Gnostic metaphysics, the law of attraction is revealed not as an act of will, but as a state of inner harmony with the living intelligence that permeates all existence. You are not a seeker standing apart from creation. You are creation becoming aware of itself. When this recognition dawns within you, effort dissolves and manifestation unfolds with the ease of breath. You cease resisting life and instead rest within the natural authority of consciousness aligned with truth. The power you seek has never been absent. It is the same silent force that guides the unseen growth of roots beneath the soil and the rise of empires from a single idea. Your inner state, your beliefs, emotions, and deep convictions quietly scripts the world you experience. Each thought sends its signal into the fabric of reality, calling forth its likeness in form and event. The ancient Gnostics knew that feeling is the sacred key. Emotion is not a reaction to circumstances, but the womb in which circumstances are formed. When your inner feeling matches the reality you know to be true, you enter the current of divine flow, where creation moves without resistance. This teaching does not call you away from the world, but deeper into it. As you embody your spiritual authority, life reshapes itself to mirror your awakened awareness. What once appeared miraculous reveals itself as law, precise, eternal, and unfailing. Know this, you are not here to learn something new. You are here to remember what has always lived within you. This wisdom is etched into your being, awaiting only your recognition to rise again as lived truth. Before we get into the book, comment, "I am ready," to affirm your intention to the universe. Part 1. The Awakening of Inner Light. Chapter 1. The Whisper of Creation. In a village between mountains of jade and valleys of mist, young Millie wandered with an empty glass jar, her heart set on capturing sunlight. The villagers smiled at her innocent quest, yet she remained unwavering in her conviction. Each morning she would hold her jar up to the rising sun, whispering words of invitation. On the seventh dawn, as golden rays touched the crystal vessel, something extraordinary occurred. Tiny motes of light began to dance within, casting a warm glow that lingered long after sunset. This truth echoes through the chambers of existence. What you believe with unwavering certainty manifests with greater power than what you merely desire. The universe responds not to the intensity of wanting, but to the depth of knowing. When your thoughts align with gratitude, they cease to be mere wishes and transform into bridges between the unseen and the seen. Consider the tale of Everett, the gardener who saw beyond the ordinary. In his modest garden, he planted simple marbles, each one placed with the absolute conviction that they were celestial seeds. The townspeople's laughter faded into astonishment as his garden began to emit a soft, ethereal glow each night. The marbles, touched by his unshakable belief, transformed the very nature of his garden into a testament of faith made manifest. These stories reveal an essential truth. The power lies not in the objects themselves, neither in Millie's jar nor Everett's marbles, but in the absolute certainty that drove their actions. When you approach life with such pure conviction, reality begins to bend toward your beliefs. The universe mirrors back not what you hope for, but what you know to be true in the depths of your being. Ancient practice of light weaving. As you prepare for sleep each night, rest your hands upon your heart. Feel it pulsing with living light. Imagine this light extending outward in gentle waves, painting tomorrow's experiences with the colors of your deepest truths. Experience gratitude for what is yet to come, as if it has already manifested. This practice aligns your being with the natural flow of creation, where gratitude precedes manifestation. Just as the first light of dawn arrives before the sun fully rises. Chapter 2. The Mirror Within. In an ancient dwelling where shadows dance with light, a woman named Daisy discovered more than her reflection in a weathered mirror. Each morning she would polish its surface, not to remove the dust of ages, but to peer deeper into the mysteries it held. As she cleaned, whispers of wisdom emerged. The mirror showed not just what was, but what could be. The mirror speaks truth you may have forgotten. Every image that surrounds you is but an echo of your inner world. When you walk through life carrying fear, the world presents more reasons to be afraid. When you move through your days radiating joy, circumstances align to multiply your gladness. This is not mere coincidence, but the law of resonance at work. Notice how resistance appears in your life, those moments of friction, conflict, or struggle. These are not punishments from an uncaring universe, but gentle redirections guiding you back to your natural state of alignment. Just as a river does not fight the stones in its path, but flows around them, your consciousness can learn to move with rather than against the current of life. Consider the tale of Gus, who lived in a modest cottage with a crumbling stone path. Instead of lamenting its decay, he spoke to each broken stone with tenderness and appreciation. He would touch them gently, thanking them for supporting his steps through the years. As seasons passed, moss began to grow between the cracks, weaving the scattered stones into a perfect spiral. Without conscious design, his gratitude had called forth a pattern of beauty from chaos. The spiral that emerged on Gus's path reveals a fundamental truth. Consciousness flowing back to its source creates patterns of perfect harmony. Like ripples in a pond returning to their center, your awareness spirals inward to discover its own creative power. Each thought you think, each feeling you nurture, sends waves through the fabric of reality that eventually return to their source. You. Ancient practice. Stand before any reflective surface, a mirror, a still pond, or even another person's eyes. As you gaze at what appears before you, speak these words silently within. I see myself, and I choose light. Let this recognition dissolve the boundaries between observer and observed until you experience the truth. There is no separation between you and what you see. Practice this whenever you encounter reflection in any form, allowing judgment to dissolve into pure awareness. Chapter 3. The Song of Stillness. The mirror speaks truth you may have forgotten. Every image that surrounds you reflects the vibrations you carry within. When you gaze outward, seeking validation, abundance, or love, you tell the universe you believe these gifts exist somewhere outside yourself. Yet the ancient wisdom whispers that all creation begins in the silent chambers of your heart. In the depths of night, Nora chased achievement like a shadow pursuing light. Her calendar burst with appointments, her mind raced with endless tasks, and her spirit grew weary beneath the weight of constant motion. She believed, as many do, that success lived at the end of exhaustion. Yet it was only when fatigue forced her to surrender that truth emerged through the cracks of her carefully constructed world. In that space of sacred stillness, Nora discovered what mystics have known through ages. The universe responds not to the volume of action, but to the clarity of being. As her breathing slowed and her mind quieted, reality began to arrange itself with an elegance no amount of effort could orchestrate. The very things she had struggled to grasp now flowed toward her with the natural ease of a stream finding its path to the sea. This wisdom finds beautiful expression in the tale of Calvin, whose relationship with time itself transformed through the power of presence. In his small shop filled with timepieces, he dared to break routine. For 7 days he left his beloved clocks unwound, creating space for a miracle. On the 8th morning, he discovered one clock had found its own rhythm, marking time to the peaceful cadence of his undisturbed attention. The clock had attuned itself to Calvin's state of being, demonstrating how the material world shapes itself around your inner frequency. When you cease the endless doing and rest in the power of your presence, creation recognizes its own reflection in your stillness and responds in kind. This truth extends beyond clocks and schedules to every aspect of existence. The universe does not yield to force but flows toward resonance. When you align your breath with the eternal rhythm, when you allow silence to become your teacher, you discover that what you seek has been seeking you. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you can sit undisturbed. Let your breath become your anchor as you settle into stillness. As thoughts arise, and they will, greet them with the gentle acknowledgement of an old friend passing by. Don't resist them. Simply watch them float past like clouds in a vast sky. Maintain this practice for a few minutes each day, gradually extending the duration as silence becomes your natural state. Feel how your entire being begins to pulse with the peaceful rhythm of the universe itself. Chapter 4. The Key Beneath the Fear. In the depths of stillness lies a sacred truth. What appears as emptiness holds infinite potential. You have been taught to chase, to grasp, to force your way forward. Yet the ancient masters knew a deeper way. When you release the desperate need to control outcomes, you tap into the eternal flow of creation itself. The universe speaks in whispers, not shouts. Its guidance comes not through the noise of endless doing, but through the subtle frequencies of being. In the space between thoughts, in the pause between breaths, wisdom blooms like night flowers opening to starlight. This truth reveals itself through Lucy's journey. Like many before her, she walked in the shadow of fear, seeing potential failure lurking in every corner of her existence. Her relationships felt fragile, her career path uncertain. Yet within her deepest fears lay a hidden map to transformation. Each worry pointed precisely to where her power waited to be claimed. Fear is nothing more than faith turned inside out. belief directed toward what you wish to avoid rather than what you wish to create. The ancient ones understood this mystery. When you face what frightens you, you discover the exact outline of your next evolution. Your fears sketch the shape of your emerging strength. In his humble workshop, Walter crafted keys of intricate beauty, though no physical lock would accept them. Night after night, his hands shaped the wood, guided by an intuition he could not name. Then came the dream, a radiant doorway pulsing behind his heart. Upon waking, he recognized that courage itself was the key he had been carving all along. The door that seemed locked, his hesitation to commit to love, opened the moment he aligned with trust instead of doubt. The universe places its most precious gifts behind the very doors you hesitate to open. What you resist persists not to torment you, but to show you where transformation awaits. Your fears are not walls, but windows, each one offering a view into unexplored territories of your potential. Ancient practice. When fear approaches, do not turn away. Instead, breathe deeply into its presence and speak these words of power. Thank you for showing me where faith belongs. Hold this practice until each shadow transforms into a guiding light, illuminating paths that once seemed impossible. Let every fear become a teacher, revealing precisely where your next expansion lies. The darkness you avoid holds the very light you seek. Chapter 5. The Language of Vibration. In every moment, the universe responds not to your words, but to the silent song of your being. This eternal truth unveils itself through vibration, the fundamental language of creation that precedes all spoken communication. Like ripples on still water, your emotional frequency extends far beyond your physical form. Through the story of Lottie and her cat, we glimpse this ancient wisdom. Where words fell short, pure vibration created an instant bridge of understanding. Her cat responded not to the meaning of sounds, but to their resonant quality, a reminder that beneath our complex thoughts lies a simpler, more profound way of connecting with life itself. The field of infinite possibility that surrounds you is exquisitely sensitive to these subtle frequencies. It doesn't analyze your wishes or weigh your worthiness. It simply matches whatever tone you broadcast. This is why genuine feeling surpasses any carefully crafted affirmation. The universe responds to your energetic signature, not your mental narrative. Chester's experience with the tuning forks exemplifies this principle in action. When the fork labeled love fell, it awakened a harmonic response in every other fork, without effort, without direction, without delay. This phenomenon mirrors the law of attraction in its purest form. Like frequencies naturally find and amplify each other. Just as those tuning forks resonated in perfect harmony, your emotional vibration draws corresponding experiences into your field. This understanding transforms manifestation from an exercise of will into an art of attunement. You need not force or strain. Your only task is to hold the frequency of what you wish to experience. The field will handle the details, orchestrating circumstances and synchronicities that match your inner song. Ancient practice. The resonant field. Throughout your day, select a single emotion to embody, perhaps joy, serenity, or love. Don't merely think about this feeling, become it. Imagine this emotion as a musical note emanating from your heart, spreading outward in concentric waves of energy. As you move through your activities, maintain this emotional tone as a constant broadcast. Watch how people and circumstances begin to reflect this frequency back to you, creating a symphony of aligned experiences. The universe cannot help but echo what you transmit. This practice reveals that you are not separate from your reality. You are its composer. Through conscious emotional resonance, you conduct the grand orchestra of life itself. Chapter 6. The Garden of Invisible Seeds. The language of vibration flows through all creation, speaking in frequencies that transcend human words. Your energy field acts as a constant broadcaster, sending signals that the universe mirrors back with perfect precision. This sacred dialogue requires no translation. It is the original tongue of existence itself. Through the delicate dance of energy, you attract experiences that match your dominant frequency. Betty's garden serves as testament to this eternal principle. For years she toiled in her garden, planting flowers with technical precision but harboring doubt in her heart. The soil remained stubborn, refusing to yield the blooms she desired. Her story illuminates how your inner climate shapes your outer reality more powerfully than any physical action. The shift occurred when Betty began whispering gratitude to the bare earth. Without visible evidence, she thanked the soil for its nurturing power, appreciated the unseen work of minerals and microbes, and blessed the dormant potential waiting to emerge. Through this practice, she altered the vibrational field of her garden. Within weeks, flowers burst forth in unprecedented abundance, responding not to her gardening skills, but to her transformed energy. This principle finds further expression in young Floyd's unconventional garden. With childlike innocence, he buried bottle caps in the earth, fully expecting flowers to grow. The daisies that sprouted above his metallic seeds defied conventional wisdom but aligned perfectly with universal law. His pure intention, unmarred by doubt, commanded reality more effectively than any physical planting technique. These tales reveal the supreme power of gratitude as a creative force. When you genuinely appreciate what is unseen, you tune your frequency to abundance. Your thankfulness becomes a magnetic field that draws forth evidence to match your inner state. Like a master gardener of energy, you cultivate reality through the quality of your vibration. The ancient practice. Each morning as the sun rises, pause to give thanks for the invisible forces sustaining life. Express gratitude for the air filling your lungs, the water flowing through pipes, the silent growth occurring beneath the soil. Thank the unseen hands that built your home, the distant farmers tending crops, the countless beings contributing to your existence. Continue until appreciation flows naturally from your heart, becoming the very atmosphere of your consciousness. Watch as life responds by making manifest the objects of your gratitude. Chapter 7. The Choice of Alignment. In the tapestry of existence, a singular truth emerges. Every choice you make ripples through the fabric of reality. Yet the deepest wisdom reveals that choice stems not from mental debate, but from energetic resonance. Hazel stood at the crossroads of two promising paths, her mind wrestling between prestigious positions. Days turned to weeks as she crafted endless lists of pros and cons, seeking certainty and logical analysis. But transformation arrived when she discovered that true choice transcends mental deliberation. It flows from the energy you already embody. Your power of choice operates not through intellectual consideration, but through vibrational alignment. When you tune into the frequency of what feels naturally aligned, the path reveals itself with crystal clarity. The universe responds not to your thoughts about a choice, but to the energy field you generate around it. Gordon, who sailed the temperamental seas, understood this profound truth. Each morning before setting out, he would stand at the bow of his vessel, blessing the waters with genuine gratitude and unwavering trust. While other fishermen returned with tales of rough waters and close calls, Gordon's journeys remained remarkably peaceful, even when storm clouds threatened the horizon. His inner harmony created an energetic shield that influenced the physical world around him. The key lies in recognizing that your energy field already knows your highest path. Your body holds this wisdom in its cellular memory, responding with either contraction or expansion to potential choices. When you align with what resonates at the deepest level, external circumstances naturally arrange themselves to support your chosen vibration. Ancient practice of aligned choice. Before making any decision, create sacred space for inner attunement. Close your eyes and bring each option into your awareness, one at a time. Notice how your body responds, where there is tension, where there is ease. The option that brings a sense of peace, even amidst uncertainty, points toward your truest path. Trust this bodily wisdom as your internal compass, guiding you toward choices that align with your highest good. Once you recognize this resonance, move forward with unwavering confidence, knowing that your energy field is already creating the reality you've chosen. Chapter 8. The River Remembers. High in the mountains lived Sadie, whose heart overflowed with such intense love that she believed she must direct its course. She watched over her family and friends with vigilant care, orchestrating what she thought would bring them joy and safety. Yet, with each careful plan and loving intervention, she noticed the light in their eyes dim slightly, their visits becoming shorter, their laughter more restrained. The universe speaks through paradox, and here lies one of its most powerful teachings. Control, even when wrapped in the purest intention, creates resistance. When you grasp too tightly at the threads of life, they begin to fray beneath your fingers. The law of surrender reveals that the highest form of love is not direction, but allowance. Just as water knows its path to the sea without guidance, consciousness flows naturally toward its highest expression when unimpeded. Your role is not to architect every outcome, but to align with the intelligence that already moves through all things. Owen, who crafted canoes in a riverside workshop, learned this wisdom through an unexpected teacher. For months, he labored over a particular vessel, his perfectionism turning joy into torment. One stormy evening, in a moment of pure frustration, he watched his unfinished work break free from its moorings and disappear into the rushing waters. Months passed, and Owen grieved not just the loss of his craft, but what he saw as his failure to complete what he'd begun. Then, one misty morning, he found the canoe resting on his shore, transformed. River currents had smoothed its rough edges, floating debris had filled its gaps, and water-worn wood had sealed its seams. Nature had completed what his striving could not. This miracle carries a profound truth. The universe possesses an intelligence far beyond our limited perception. When you release your grip on outcomes, you allow this greater wisdom to work through you rather than against you. The law of attraction operates most powerfully not through force, but through harmonious alignment. Your intentions set the direction, but surrender allows the path to unfold naturally. This is not passive resignation, but active trust in the perfect unfolding of all things. Ancient practice of release. When you feel the urge to control or direct, pause and take 3 deep breaths. With each inhale, gather all your tension and worry. With each exhale, release it to the wisdom of the universe. Then, speak these words silently. Everything knows where to go. Repeat this practice until you feel peace replace the need for control. Let this become your response whenever you notice yourself grasping at outcomes or trying to force solutions. Chapter 9. The Golden Thread of Thought. In a quaint village beneath ancient hills, Polly tended her small shop of curiosities. Each morning she would pause before opening, close her eyes, and envision prosperity flowing through her doors like golden sunlight. With each passing day, she noticed something remarkable. The more consistently she held this vision, the brighter her shop became. Not just metaphorically, but in ways that caught the attention of passers-by. The windows seemed to sparkle more brilliantly. The merchandise arranged itself in perfect harmony, and customers often remarked on the shop's welcoming atmosphere. The law of creation operates through unwavering focus. Like a master weaver at an eternal loom, your thoughts thread through the fabric of existence, creating patterns that manifest in your physical world. When these thoughts maintain a steady vibration, they weave solid and lasting forms. But when they waver and scatter, reality appears unstable, shifting like shadows in uncertain light. This truth became evident through Vernon, a gifted pianist whose hands had begun to shake uncontrollably. Rather than surrendering to despair, he discovered the transformative power of sustained vision. Each night before sleep, he would sit at his piano, hands hovering above the keys, and imagine them moving with perfect grace and precision. He felt the smoothness of each key, heard the clarity of each note, and experienced the joy of flawless performance. He maintained this vision with such dedication that it became more real to him than his trembling fingers. At his next concert, as Vernon took his place at the grand piano, something extraordinary occurred. His hands, which had shaken reliably for months, found their steady grace. The music flowed through him as it had in his visions, each note crystalline and pure. His unwavering belief had reshaped the very physics of his condition. The ancient practice of vision weaving. Choose a space where you can remain undisturbed. Close your eyes and bring forth one clear vision of your desired reality. See it with such precision that you could touch its contours. Feel it with such depth that your body responds as if it were already real. Return to this same vision daily, adding no variations or improvements. Let it become as familiar as your own reflection. Hold it steadily until it feels ordinary, unremarkable. For what the mind accepts as natural, the universe must soon provide. Remember, the power lies not in the intensity of your desire, but in the consistency of your vision. Like water wearing away stone, it is the patient persistence of focused thought that reshapes reality's landscape. Chapter 10. The Doorway, Inside Intention. In times past, Mabel lived each day in endless prayer, whispering her hopes to the universe while rushing through moments without pause. Her heart yearned for signs of divine response, yet her eyes remained fixed on what was missing rather than what was appearing. Though she spoke of miracles, she walked past their gentle unfoldment, too focused on the horizon to notice the path beneath her feet blooming with answers. The universe speaks in whispers before it speaks in thunder. Each intention you cast into the field of infinite possibility creates ripples of manifestation, but these initial stirrings require your recognition to fully emerge into form. Like a garden responding to the gardener's gaze, reality flourishes under the warmth of your conscious attention. Leonard, an artist whose soul spoke through brushstrokes, understood this truth through an extraordinary experience. In the forgotten corners of his city, he began painting doors on bare walls, ornate entrances that seemed to lead nowhere. Each door he created held within it his silent prayer for transformation. He poured his vision into every detail: the weathered brass of painted knockers, the rich grain of imagined wood, the mysterious shadows in painted keyholes. One evening, as twilight softened the city's edges, Leonard returned to an alley where he had painted his most recent door. There, in the growing darkness, he witnessed the impossible: warm light seeping through the cracks of his painted creation, as if the door had become a threshold to another world. His art had transformed into a portal, not because the paint had changed, but because his unwavering attention had awakened the boundary between imagination and reality. This sacred law reveals itself in every moment. What you observe with loving expectation gathers energy and substance. Your attention is the bridge between potential and manifestation, the final ingredient that crystallizes intention into form. When you plant a seed of desire in the fertile soil of consciousness, it is your expectant observation that calls it into bloom. The ancient practice of sacred noticing. Set aside moments throughout your day for conscious observation. After stating an intention, cultivate the art of gentle vigilance. Watch for the subtle ways your desire begins to take shape: a relevant conversation overheard, a meaningful coincidence, an unexpected opportunity. Acknowledge each sign, no matter how small, with quiet celebration. As you notice these early manifestations, let your recognition become a form of gratitude. Each time you spot a hint of your intention materializing, pause and whisper, "I see you," to the universe. This acknowledgement strengthens the bridge between thought and form, between prayer and answer. Continue this practice until expectant attention becomes your natural state, until you move through your days aware of the countless ways the universe conspires to fulfill your aligned intentions. Let your awareness become the light that draws miracles from shadow into form. The mystic's secret lies not in asking but in receiving, not in speaking but in listening, not in seeking but in recognizing. When you master the art of sacred attention, every moment becomes a miracle unfolding, every breath an answered prayer. Part 2. The Architecture of Divine Power. Chapter 11. The Compass of Emotion. Once there lived a young woman named Clara, who measured her worth by achievements, believing joy must be earned through endless striving. Each morning she would review her checklist of accomplishments, hoping that once she gathered enough, happiness would finally arrive. Yet the more she achieved, the more distant contentment seemed to drift. You see, Clara's story mirrors an ancient truth. Happiness isn't a reward awaiting at the journey's end. It's the compass guiding your path. Your emotions serve as an exquisite guidance system, whispering wisdom about your alignment with universal flow. When you tune into this inner barometer, life's directions become crystal clear. Consider how your feelings precede manifestation, like clouds gathering before rain. Your emotional state broadcasts a signal that reality must match, for such is the law of resonance. What you feel with consistency becomes the blueprint that tomorrow must follow. Harold, a traveling salesman, stumbled upon this wisdom through careful observation. For years he traversed countless miles, noting in his leather-bound journal how his car's performance mirrored his inner state. On days when irritation clouded his mind, mechanical troubles would surface without fail. Yet when peace filled his heart, the engine hummed in harmony. Through this simple correlation, he discovered that metal and machinery respond to the invisible frequencies of human emotion. This revelation speaks to a profound truth. The outer world arranges itself according to your inner atmosphere. Just as Harold's vehicle responded to his emotional weather, your entire reality aligns with the climate of your consciousness. When worry clouds your thoughts, circumstances appear that justify that concern. When you radiate joy, life conspires to maintain your gladness. The practice of this wisdom is elegantly simple, yet transformative in its power. Rather than struggling to fix external conditions, turn your attention to your emotional sphere. Like a skilled meteorologist reading subtle shifts in pressure, learn to notice when your inner weather begins to change. If storm clouds gather in your heart, don't fight them. Instead, gentle your breath and soften your resistance. Whisper to yourself, "I allow this feeling to guide me back to peace." Watch how, with this simple shift, outer circumstances begin to reflect your restored harmony. Let joy become your navigator, and observe as synchronicities and miracles naturally find their way back to your door. Sacred practice. Throughout your day, pause periodically to sense your emotional climate. When you notice tension or discord, breathe deeply and ask, "What would bring me back to joy in this moment?" Then, without forcing change, simply allow your inner atmosphere to naturally rebalance. Trust that as your inner weather clears, your outer world will follow suit. Chapter 12. The Light Between Words. In this eternal dance of creation, feeling precedes form, shaping the clay of possibility before events take shape. Harold, that wise traveling salesman, discovered this truth through meticulous observation. In his leather-bound journal, he recorded both his emotional state and the performance of his vehicle. A pattern emerged, clear as mountain streams, showing his car faltered only when worry clouded his mind. His revelation demonstrates how your inner weather shapes the physical world around you. The universe responds not to the words you speak, but to the energy you emanate. This brings us to Faye, who recited affirmations like a dutiful student completing homework. Each morning and night, she repeated phrases of abundance and success, yet her circumstances remained unchanged. Then, one day, her friend asked her a simple question that altered everything. "Do you taste the words you speak?" This question awakened Faye to the hollow echo of mechanical repetition. She began infusing each affirmation with the nectar of genuine feeling, letting the words dissolve on her tongue like honey. Only then did her reality begin to shift, matching the authentic vibration she now emanated. Oscar's journey with sign language reveals another layer of this wisdom. As a student of nonverbal communication, he noticed something remarkable. His silent gestures, flowing from genuine emotion, touched hearts more deeply than his most eloquent speeches ever had. Without words to hide behind, his pure intention shone through, demonstrating how energy transcends language. Your emotions are not mere passengers on your journey. They are the compass pointing toward your highest potential. When inner storms brew, they signal misalignment with your truth. When peace flows, you've found your course. Like Harold's car responding to his mood, your entire reality dances to the rhythm of your emotional frequency. Ancient practice. Find a quiet space where you can speak your dreams aloud. Before each word leaves your lips, let it first bloom in your heart. Breathe in the essence of what you desire to manifest. Then let your words carry that fragrance into the world. Feel each syllable as if it were already real, already present. This is not repetition, it is creation itself. Let your voice become the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between possibility and manifestation. The power lies not in the words themselves, but in the love with which you speak them into being. Chapter 13. The Secret Origin of Matter. In the depths of winter, as Leroy observed the intricate patterns forming upon his gloves, he stumbled upon one of existence's most precious secrets. Each crystalline formation spoke of intelligence beyond human design, an intelligence that permeates all things, from the smallest snowflake to the vastest galaxy. The truth whispers, what appears solid is simply spirit moving at a slower vibration. Your physical world emerges from consciousness itself, like ice forming on the surface of a still pond. When you understand this principle, you begin to see how thought shapes reality at its most fundamental level. Florence, working in her humble studio, demonstrated this sacred principle through her art. As her hands moved across marble surfaces, she didn't impose form. She listened. The stone itself seemed to guide her fingers, revealing the angels that had always dwelled within. Where others saw only rock, she perceived potential, and that perception transformed solid matter into divine expression. This wisdom echoes through the ages. The physical realm is not separate from consciousness, but is consciousness expressed in form. Every object around you holds the memory of its creation, the thought that called it into being. The chair you sit upon, the table before you, the walls that shelter you, all are frozen thoughts awaiting recognition of their sacred nature. When you touch any object, you commune with the consciousness that shaped it. The wood of your desk still carries the memory of sunlight and rain. The metal in your keys remembers the heart of stars where it was forged. Nothing is truly inanimate. All matter pulses with the rhythm of creation itself. Your role in this dance is not to force or manipulate, but to remember and recognize. As you move through your day, each object you encounter offers an opportunity for communion with the divine intelligence that flows through all things. Ancient practice. Begin each day by acknowledging the living presence in 3 objects near you. Place your hand upon each one and silently express gratitude for its service and presence in your life. Feel the energy flowing between your palm and the object's surface. This simple ritual awakens the dormant dialogue between consciousness and form, transforming your environment from mere backdrop into active participant in your journey of awakening. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. The Hidden Law of Reciprocity. The universe speaks through pattern and vibration, singing matter into being through the eternal dance of energy. Each physical form you encounter carries within it the memory of its spiritual origin, waiting to be awakened by conscious recognition. In sacred halls of ancient wisdom, masters taught that the physical realm is but the final octave of divine thought, crystallized into form through the power of universal consciousness. When you grasp this truth, the solid world becomes translucent, revealing the light of creation flowing through all things. Edith's tale unveils another layer of this cosmic truth. She believed that modesty required her to deflect every kind word, storing compliments away like precious gems never to be shared. Yet as these gifts of appreciation accumulated within, they grew stagnant, blocking the natural flow of life's energy. It wasn't until she witnessed joy withering in her garden that understanding dawned. Just as plants require the cycle of water, spirit requires the cycle of exchange. Frank, the generous barber in the village square, embodied this wisdom without knowing its deeper significance. On days when rain fell heavy, he would offer free haircuts to any who entered his shop. What began as simple kindness revealed a profound truth. After each day of giving, sunshine would pierce the clouds, as if nature itself responded to his open-hearted exchange. The weather shifted to mirror his generosity, demonstrating how reality aligns with the flow of giving and receiving. These stories illuminate the secret mechanics of creation, that all matter responds to the circulation of energy. When you withhold, the universe contracts. When you give freely, it expands to match your generosity. The physical world is not fixed, but fluid, constantly reforming itself according to the patterns of exchange you establish through thought and deed. Ancient practice. As the sun traces its arc today, share whatever surplus of joy dwells within you. Let your smile become a gift, your words a blessing. With each act of giving, feel how abundance multiplies through motion. Continue this practice until the act of sharing becomes as natural and necessary as drawing breath. Watch how the material world begins to pulse in harmony with your expanded heart, revealing the true nature of matter as love in motion. Chapter 15. The Shadow as Teacher. A merchant in a distant land discovered a curious truth. The more coins he gave freely to those in need, the more his coffers seemed to multiply by morning. Yet when he clutched his wealth in fear, even the gold he had seemed to lose its luster. The law of reciprocity flows through all creation like an eternal river. You cannot dam its waters nor force its current. You can only align with its natural motion. This truth reveals itself in every breath. To receive oxygen, you must first release what no longer serves. The universe maintains perfect balance through this sacred exchange. When you grasp something too tightly, you signal to the infinite that you believe in lack. This very belief creates resistance in the field of possibilities. Yet when you release with trust, you open the channels through which abundance naturally flows. Edith learned this wisdom through years of withholding praise and acknowledgement from others. She believed that speaking of others' light might diminish her own. Each compliment felt like a precious coin she couldn't afford to spend. Yet the more she held back, the more isolated and depleted she became. Then one rain-soaked morning, she began offering genuine words of appreciation to everyone she met. To her amazement, not only did others begin responding in kind, but opportunities and good fortune started appearing as if by magic. She had discovered that the heart grows richer by giving what it seeks. Frank, the village barber, embodied this principle without even knowing it. On days when storm clouds gathered, he would open his shop doors and offer free haircuts to anyone caught in the rain. A simple act of generosity, yet something miraculous began to occur. Time and again, the clouds would part, and sunlight would break through just as he finished his final cut of the day. The universe responded to his giving nature with its own gift of clear skies. The teaching here runs deeper than mere transaction. Every gift sent forth creates ripples in the fabric of reality. These ripples return multiplied, not because of cosmic bookkeeping, but because giving aligns you with the natural flow of life itself. The practice. Choose one thing you possess in abundance today, whether it be a smile, a kind word, or a helpful gesture. Share it freely without expectation. Feel how the very act of giving creates space for receiving, and watch as the universe responds in its perfect timing. Let giving become as natural as breathing, and abundance will flow through you as effortlessly as light through crystal. Chapter 16. The Bridge of Imagination. In the depths of human experience lies a sacred workshop where dreams take shape before manifesting in the visible world. This truth unfolds through the story of Beatrice, who held no brushes yet painted with the light of pure imagination. Each night she would close her eyes and envision herself creating masterpieces of crimson and gold, her imaginary hands dancing across invisible canvases with perfect strokes. Though she owned no art supplies, she felt the textures and saw the colors with such clarity that her heart swelled with joy at these phantom paintings. Then one evening, as the sun began to set, Beatrice witnessed her imagined artwork materializing in the sky. Every shade, every subtle blend of color, matched exactly what she had practiced in her mind's eye. The heavens themselves had become her canvas, reflecting the masterpiece she had already completed in consciousness. This revelation shows us that imagination is not mere fantasy. It is the sacred drafting table where reality first takes form. What you envision with feeling and faith becomes the template for physical manifestation. The universe responds not to what your hands hold, but to what your consciousness embraces as real. Consider Peter, whose story reinforces this principle. Each night he would lie in bed imagining new combinations of flavors, the sweetness of honey meeting the tartness of lemon, the warmth of cinnamon embracing the richness of chocolate. He felt the textures, savored the tastes, and experienced the joy of creation purely in thought. Upon waking, he discovered these phantom recipes had somehow crossed the bridge between worlds, their aromas wafting through his kitchen as if the foods had already been baked. The dream state operates as a direct line to the creative force of the universe. In this twilight space between waking and sleeping, the barriers between thought and form grow thin. Here, consciousness moves with greater freedom, unencumbered by doubt or limitation. What you imagine in these moments carries special power to shape the clay of reality. Ancient practice. As you prepare for sleep each night, create a sacred moment of manifestation. Lie quietly and allow your desired outcome to fill your awareness completely. Feel it as if it has already occurred. Experience the joy, the satisfaction, the gratitude. Let these feelings grow strong and clear until sleep naturally arrives. In this way, you entrust your vision to the infinite workshop, where all creation begins. Chapter 17. The Pulse of Forgiveness. Deep in the chambers of your heart lies an ancient truth about the alchemy of forgiveness. In a small village between mountains, Ruth carried the weight of past wounds like stones in her pockets. Each memory of betrayal darkened the light around her until even the morning sun seemed dim through the veil of her pain. Her story mirrors a universal pattern: how tightly we grip our hurts, believing they protect us, while they silently drain our creative force. The universe operates through the law of energetic flow. When you hold on to grievances, you create dams in the river of abundance meant to course through your life. Every grudge becomes a barrier, every unforgiving thought a wall between you and your natural state of grace. Yet within this same principle lies the key to liberation. Travis discovered this wisdom through an unexpected teacher, betrayal itself. When his cousin misappropriated funds from their family business, initial anger threatened to consume him. But in a moment of clarity, he chose to release the burden of resentment. He didn't condone the action, but he freed himself from its emotional grip. Within weeks, an unexpected inheritance arrived, more than covering the previous loss. The universe had responded to his vibrational shift. This demonstrates a fundamental truth. Forgiveness isn't about the other person. It's about restoring your own energetic integrity. When you release others from the prison of your judgment, you actually free yourself. The power that was once spent maintaining walls of resentment becomes available for creating, for manifesting, for living. Consider how water, when unconstricted, naturally finds its path to the sea. Your creative energy seeks similar freedom. Each act of forgiveness dissolves a barrier, allowing your life force to flow unimpeded. This is not mere theory, but a practical principle of manifestation. The practice. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Breathe deeply into your heart center. Visualize each person connected to you by cords of resentment or pain. Now imagine your heart generating a gentle golden current of light. Let this light flow along each cord, transforming it into pure radiance. Watch as these connections dissolve into the light, feeling the space within you expand like an endless sky. Feel the lightness that comes with release, the peace that flows in when barriers dissolve. This is your natural state, open, flowing, free. Chapter 18. The Pattern of Synchronicity. In ancient times, a traveler would find their way by following signs in nature: the flight of birds, the pattern of clouds, the whisper of wind through leaves. These signs continue to guide you, though they now appear in different forms. June walked through life carrying doubt like a shield, questioning every opportunity and second-guessing each blessing. Her mind created elaborate explanations for why good fortune couldn't possibly last, why dreams were meant for others but not for her. Yet one morning she made a simple choice: to lay down the weight of doubt and walk unburdened through her day. What followed was nothing short of miraculous, though in its unfolding it felt as natural as breathing. A phone call arrived precisely when needed. A chance meeting opened doors she hadn't known existed. Resources appeared at the exact moment of necessity. These weren't random events, but the language of the universe speaking through perfect timing. When you release doubt, you allow the invisible orchestration of life to reveal itself. Your higher self, that aspect of you which exists beyond time and space, is constantly arranging circumstances for your highest good. But doubt acts as interference in this divine frequency, scrambling the signal of synchronicity. Consider Melvin's story, which speaks to this truth with elegant simplicity. This humble stargazer held a pure wish in his heart to witness a comet's passage through the night sky. He didn't strain or struggle. He simply held the desire with gentle certainty. That very evening, as if by cosmic arrangement, his neighbors knocked on his door with an invitation that fulfilled his wish perfectly. This is how the universe operates, not through force, but through harmonious alignment. When you trust in divine timing, you enter a state of flow where events arrange themselves with effortless grace. Each synchronicity serves as confirmation that you are seen, supported, and guided by forces greater than human planning. The teaching reveals that timing is not about luck or chance, but about trust. When you trust, you tune into the perfect rhythm of universal orchestration. Your role is not to make things happen, but to allow them to unfold while maintaining unwavering faith in their perfect timing. Sacred practice. As you move through each day, acknowledge every synchronicity, no matter how small, as a nod from the universe. When the traffic light turns green just as you approach, when someone mentions exactly what you were thinking, when a solution appears precisely when needed, pause and silently recognize these moments as cosmic confirmation. Let each coincidence fill you with quiet joy, knowing it is evidence of your alignment with universal flow. This practice transforms ordinary moments into sacred dialogue with the infinite, and gradually you'll notice these meaningful coincidences multiplying like stars appearing in the evening sky. Chapter 19. The Alchemy of Happiness. The universe speaks in the language of synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that arise when you align with its flow. Like notes in a grand symphony, events orchestrate themselves with perfect timing once you learn to trust their unfolding. Carrie embodied this truth through her journey. Each morning she would write elaborate lists of goals, believing happiness lay at their completion. She pushed herself relentlessly, convinced that joy was a reward earned through achievement. Yet, despite checking off item after item, satisfaction remained elusive, always somewhere in the theoretical future. Then one day, while watching children play in a park, she witnessed their natural state of delight. These little ones weren't waiting to be happy. They simply were. Their joy didn't depend on accomplishment or circumstance. In that moment, Carrie understood. Happiness isn't a destination, but a starting point. The universe mirrors your inner state back to you. When you chase happiness as though it's missing, you broadcast the frequency of lack. But when you choose joy first, reality reorganizes itself around that vibration. Lionel discovered this principle quite by accident. As an accountant, he spent his days surrounded by endless columns of numbers, each spreadsheet more tedious than the last. His work felt like a burden until the day he decided, almost whimsically, to thank the numbers for their presence in his life. To his amazement, what began as a simple gratitude practice shifted something fundamental in his experience. Tasks that once took hours now flowed with surprising ease. Clients became more cooperative. Paperwork processed itself with unprecedented efficiency. His workload literally halved, though he hadn't changed his methods, only his relationship with his work. The secret lies not in forcing happiness after achievement, but in choosing it as the foundation from which all else flows. Joy is not the reward, it is the power source, the generator of favorable circumstances. Ancient practice. Find a quiet moment and center yourself in the present. Release all conditions for happiness, all when and if statements that postpone joy. Simply choose to experience delight right now, for no reason other than because you can. Feel it bubble up from within, independent of external circumstances. Let this elevated state become your natural frequency, and watch as life begins to mirror back events that match this vibration. Your joy becomes a magnet, attracting more reasons to be joyful in an endless cycle of expansion. Chapter 20. The Eye of Neutrality. The universe speaks in the language of synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that arise when you align with its flow. Like notes in a grand symphony, events orchestrate themselves with perfect timing once you learn to trust their unfolding. Agnes faced mounting bills with trembling hands, her mind racing through worst-case scenarios. Each envelope seemed to carry the weight of impending doom, until she discovered an ancient truth, that resistance multiplies struggle, while acceptance opens pathways to grace. In those moments when fear gripped tightest, she learned to breathe deeply and allow the moment to be as it was, without fighting against it. The law of attraction operates through emotional resonance. When you resist what is, you create turbulence in the field of infinite possibilities. This turbulence obscures solutions that are always present, waiting to emerge. Your acceptance acts as a clearing in the storm, allowing universal intelligence to reveal its perfect answers. Marvin's story illuminates this principle beautifully. As a chess player, he had always approached each match with intense anxiety about losing. This fear clouded his strategic vision, making defeat a self-fulfilling prophecy. But something shifted when he released his attachment to outcomes. By embracing each game with peaceful curiosity, the board transformed from a battlefield into a garden of possibilities. His ranking rose naturally, not through forced effort, but through alignment with the flow of insight that fear had previously blocked. What you resist persists. This isn't punishment, it's physics. Every emotion carries a vibrational signature. Anxiety emits a frequency that attracts more situations to be anxious about. But when you maintain neutrality in the face of challenge, you emit a frequency of clarity that draws solutions toward you effortlessly. The universe responds not to your words or wishes, but to your vibrational state. When you find yourself caught in worry's grip, remember that peace is not the absence of problems. It is the presence of harmony with what is. In this harmony lies your greatest power. Practice. In moments of tension, inhale peace through the belly and think, I am safe within infinite intelligence, until the storm loses interest in you and solutions drift gently forward. Part 3. The Sovereignty of the Infinite Self. Chapter 21. The Throne of Awareness. In the stillness of an ancient temple, Tilda sought wisdom from every master she could find. Her quest led her through sacred texts, meditation retreats, and spiritual teachings from across the world. Yet with each new insight gained, a deeper hunger remained unfulfilled. One day, exhausted from her endless seeking, she sat quietly and noticed something remarkable. The one who had been watching her search all along. The great truth reveals itself with elegant simplicity. The observer of your experience is the foundation of all wisdom. Like a mighty mountain unmoved by passing clouds, your essential nature remains untouched by the constant flow of thoughts, emotions, and circumstances. This watching presence is your true identity, the silent witness that has been with you since before memory began. When you recognize this eternal observer within, the desperate search for enlightenment dissolves into laughter. You realize you've been like a fish swimming frantically through every ocean seeking water, or like eyes straining to see themselves. The wisdom you seek has always been the awareness in which your seeking occurs. Harvey, who spent decades photographing sunsets from his hilltop home, one day lowered his camera and recognized a profound truth. While the sky's colors shifted endlessly from gold to purple to darkness, something within him remained unchanged, the constant witness that beheld each sunset's glory. This silent presence was neither born with the dawn, nor extinguished by nightfall. In that moment, Harvey understood that he was not the shifting thoughts and emotions that passed through his awareness, but the vast space of consciousness in which all experience arises. This teaching points to the supreme secret. You are not what you observe, but the observer itself. Your thoughts, feelings, and experiences are like actors on a stage. They come and go, playing their parts in the grand theater of existence. But you are the watching awareness, the still point around which all movement occurs. The practice. Throughout your day, pause periodically to notice the one who notices. Whether in joy or sorrow, success or failure, step back into the seat of the witness. Feel the profound peace of your true nature, the silent awareness that watches all things arise and pass away. Let each experience flow before your sovereign gaze, neither grasping nor rejecting what appears. Rest in the majesty of your essential self, and watch as life unfolds as a divine play before the throne of consciousness. Chapter 22. The Field of Oneness. The universal field holds a profound secret that few have fully grasped. Your relationship with others shapes the very fabric of what becomes possible. When you release the illusion of separation, reality responds with unexpected grace. Consider how Bonnie's story unveils this truth. In her corporate role, she viewed each day as a battlefield where only the strongest could prevail. Her muscles tensed with each email, her breath shortened in every meeting, as she positioned herself against her colleagues in an endless game of professional chess. Yet the more fiercely she competed, the more elusive her goals became. Success felt like water slipping through clenched fingers. The shift came unexpectedly. One morning, exhausted from the constant vigilance, she simply let go. Instead of strategizing her next move, she began silently blessing her coworkers. With each person she encountered, she imagined light flowing from her heart to theirs, carrying wishes for their well-being and achievement. A curious thing happened. As she released the need to outshine others, her own work began to shine more brightly. Projects flowed with unexpected ease. Solutions appeared as if by magic. The very colleagues she had once viewed as rivals began seeking her counsel and offering collaboration. This principle finds beautiful expression in Norman's experience with his beehives. As a keeper of bees for 30 years, he had tried every conventional method to increase honey production. But it was only when he began playing soft, harmonious music near the hives that he witnessed a remarkable transformation. The bees seemed to dance more vibrantly, their movements synchronized to the peaceful rhythms. The honey they produced took on a sweeter quality, and the hives themselves radiated a palpable sense of harmony. Even more fascinating, neighboring wildflowers began blooming more abundantly, as if responding to the expanded field of cooperative energy. These stories illuminate an essential truth. The universe operates through unity, not division. When you align with this principle, you tap into a power far greater than individual effort. Your consciousness is not confined to your physical form. It extends into a vast web of interconnected awareness. Every thought of competition creates resistance in this field, while every impulse toward unity amplifies the flow of good for all. Ancient practice for unity. Consciousness. Find a quiet moment and settle into a comfortable position. Close your eyes and bring your awareness to your breath. Now picture humanity as a single luminous organism, breathing together as one being. Feel yourself as a cell within this greater body. With each inhale, draw in light that connects you to all beings. With each exhale, send waves of goodwill outward, blessing the entire human family as you would bless your own heartbeat. Continue this practice until you feel the boundaries between self and other beginning to dissolve into pure, radiant oneness. Chapter 23. The Crown of Discernment. In the depths of every heart lies an inner compass, pointing toward truth with unwavering precision. Yet how often its subtle guidance becomes clouded by the noise of what you believe you should do, what others expect, or what fear whispers in the dark hours. Eleanor's tale mirrors this universal struggle. Each day she wove herself into knots of obligation, saying yes when her spirit whispered no, extending herself beyond natural boundaries until exhaustion became her constant companion. She mistook this perpetual giving for love, believing that sacrifice equaled virtue. Her relationships became heavy chains rather than wings of joy. Then one morning, sitting in her garden, Eleanor noticed how the flowers turned naturally toward the sun, not from duty, but from pure alignment with their nature. In that moment of stillness, she heard what her heart had long been trying to tell her. True love flows as naturally as sunlight, requiring no force. This revelation illuminates a fundamental truth. Discernment is the sacred art of distinguishing between what genuinely resonates with your soul and what stems from fear, guilt, or vanity. It is the ability to feel the difference between a yes that liberates and one that imprisons. Victor's story as a radio operator deepens this wisdom. Night after night, he sat at his console, fingers dancing across dials, searching through layers of static. Others might have forced themselves to settle for an unclear signal, believing that effort alone proved worthiness. But Victor knew better. He understood that somewhere amid the noise, a perfect frequency waited, one that would come in crystal clear, without strain or struggle. His patience paid off one evening when, through the chaos of competing signals, he caught a melody so pure it brought tears to his eyes. The ease with which it came through taught him that truth, like that perfect frequency, announces itself through effortlessness. When something is right, it simply flows. The ancient practice. When uncertainty clouds your path, find a quiet space and close your eyes. Let your breath slow until your mind grows still. Wait for the subtle hum of relief to arise, that gentle tone of rightness that speaks through comfort rather than crisis. This is the universe's whisper of guidance. Let this inner hum be your compass, steering every choice toward alignment with your highest truth. Chapter 24. The Flame of Service. The gift of discernment reveals itself most purely in the silence between thoughts. It speaks not through the clamor of should, but through the quiet resonance of truth. When you still your mind, like the surface of an undisturbed lake, wisdom reflects with crystal clarity. Myrtle began volunteering at the local shelter seeking validation, a way to prove her worth to herself and others. Yet, as weeks passed, something profound shifted within her. The faces she met became mirrors, each reflection showing her a different facet of the divine spirit that connects all beings. What started as an attempt to feel useful transformed into a sacred communion. Each meal served, each bed made, each kind word spoken became a thread in the tapestry of unity. The teaching reveals itself. When action springs from authentic presence rather than need, it creates a field of harmony that transforms both giver and receiver. In this field, there is no separation between service and elevation. They are one movement of divine consciousness expressing itself through human form. Clyde's story illuminates this truth with striking simplicity. Each morning, he would climb the lighthouse steps to polish the great glass lens. Few ships passed his remote station, yet his dedication never wavered. He understood intuitively that true service asks nothing of results. It is complete in itself. Then came that fateful night, when dense fog rolled in like a gray wall. Because of his faithful tending, the light cut through the murk with exceptional clarity, guiding an entire fishing fleet to safety. His years of unseen devotion crystallized in that moment into the saving of many lives. This ancient wisdom whispers, it is not the scale of service that matters, but the presence you bring to it. When you act from the silent center of being, every gesture ripples outward with unseen power. The universe responds not to the size of the deed, but to the purity of intention behind it. Practice. Choose one act of kindness to perform today, something small and secret that no one will trace back to you. As you complete this hidden service, feel the warm glow of giving spread through your being. This sensation is your proof that magnitude lies not in recognition, but in the quiet joy of contributing to life's grand tapestry. Let this warmth remind you that true power often moves most potently through the smallest unseen acts of grace. Chapter 25. The Temple of the Body. In a small village among rolling hills, Hattie spent her days in meditation and prayer, believing that spiritual advancement meant transcending physical needs. She fasted frequently, slept little, and dismissed bodily signals as mere distractions from her spiritual path. The material world, she thought, was an illusion to overcome rather than a sacred vessel to honor. Through years of neglect, her body spoke in increasingly urgent whispers, until finally it shouted through serious illness. Confined to bed, Hattie could no longer escape into ethereal realms. In this forced stillness, wisdom emerged. The body is not a cage to escape, but a living temple where spirit and matter dance as one. The physical form serves as the sacred bridge between heaven and earth. Every cell vibrates with divine intelligence. Every breath channels universal life force. Every heartbeat echoes cosmic rhythm. Your body is not separate from your spiritual essence. It is the instrument through which consciousness expresses itself in the material world. Stanley, a dedicated runner, discovered this truth through movement. Each morning, he transformed his daily run into moving meditation. With every footfall, he offered gratitude. Thank you for this step, this breath, this moment. Soon, his former aches and exhaustion transformed into flowing grace. His body became an instrument of prayer, each mile a hymn of devotion. Through his experience, we glimpse how physical form can become a living sanctuary. When you treat your body as the temple it is, every action becomes sacred ceremony. Eating becomes communion. Rest becomes restoration. Movement becomes celebration. The boundary between spiritual practice and physical care dissolves into seamless devotion. Your body holds ancient wisdom in its very cells. It knows the rhythm of the seasons, the pull of the moon, the dance of elements. When you listen deeply, it guides you toward balance with perfect precision. Pain is not punishment, but guidance. Fatigue is not weakness, but wisdom. Hunger is not inconvenience, but invitation to nourish the sacred. The practice. Approach each physical action as holy ritual. Before eating, pause to bless your food and thank your body for its wisdom. During movement, whisper gratitude to each muscle and joint that serves you. As you rest, imagine light filling every cell with rejuvenating love. Let every breath become conscious prayer, every step mindful meditation, every gesture an expression of reverence for the temple that houses your spirit. Continue until you feel vitality itself becoming your constant communion with the divine. Chapter 26. The Echo of Source. Nellie walked through life feeling disconnected, as though her prayers vanished into an indifferent void. Yet one morning, while sipping tea at her favorite cafe, she noticed her name printed in an unusual font on her receipt. Later that day, a cloud formation spelled the same letters, and on her drive home, 3 songs in succession contained her name. These whispers from the universe continued until she could no longer dismiss them as mere coincidence. The world around you constantly reflects your own consciousness back to you. You exist within a living field of intelligence that knows you intimately and responds to your awareness of it. Every moment contains sacred signatures waiting to be recognized, not as random events, but as love letters from the infinite to its own embodied expression. You. When you truly understand this principle, you realize there is no separation between observer and observed. The universe doesn't simply respond to your presence. It is your presence in infinite forms. Like waves arising from and returning to the same ocean, all experience flows from and back to unified consciousness. Reuben discovered this truth while composing lullabies for his newborn daughter. Without consulting any astronomical charts, he found his melodies naturally aligning with the mathematical ratios of planetary orbits. His fingers moved across piano keys in patterns that mirrored the cosmic dance of celestial bodies. He had not calculated these rhythms. Rather, his heart remembered them, for they were already written in his cells. This remembering is available to you in every moment. Your body holds the wisdom of stars. Your breath carries the rhythm of tides. Your heartbeat echoes the pulse of universal life. You need not search for connection. You need only recognize the connection that has always been there. The divine speaks through the language of synchronicity, through patterns that catch your eye, through melodies that stir your soul, through coincidences too perfect to be accident. These are not random events, but reminders of your belonging in the grand tapestry of existence. Ancient practice. Settle into a comfortable position and close your eyes. Let your attention rest in the space between sounds, the silence that holds all noise. Feel the subtle vibration of being itself pulsing through your awareness. Without trying to name or grasp it, simply rest in the knowing that you are known, held, and loved by the very fabric of existence. Let gratitude arise naturally as you recognize your inseparable unity with all that is. Allow this recognition to deepen into your cells until you feel the truth. You have always belonged, and you always will. Chapter 27. The Mastery of Perspective. In a small mountain village there lived a weaver named Ida who spent countless hours undoing her work at the first sign of imperfection. Each missed stitch became a source of torment, each uneven pattern a reason for despair. Her loom gathered dust as she grew increasingly paralyzed by the fear of making mistakes. Every misstep in your journey appears as an obstacle only when viewed through the lens of judgment. The universal law reveals that what you perceive as error is actually sacred instruction, carefully crafted by infinite intelligence to expand your understanding. Like a master sculptor who sees the finished masterpiece within rough stone, wisdom lies in recognizing that apparent flaws are stepping stones to mastery. Douglas, a photographer in a distant city, discovered this truth in his darkroom one fateful evening. Frustrated with a series of ruined negatives, he accidentally flipped one while developing. The inverted image revealed stunning patterns he had never noticed before. What seemed like technical mistakes transformed into artistic breakthroughs. Through this revelation, his entire portfolio evolved into a celebrated collection of innovative perspectives. This ancient wisdom whispers that contrast exists not to discourage but to sharpen your creative edge. Each challenge presents an opportunity to transcend previous limitations. When you shift your perception, reality shifts with you. What appears as obstacle becomes opportunity. What seems like burden transforms into blessing. The field of infinite potential responds not to what happens, but to how you interpret what happens. Your perspective literally shapes the dimension of experience you inhabit. By choosing to view difficulties as divine training grounds, you activate dormant powers within your consciousness. This is not mere positive thinking. It is alchemical transformation at the quantum level. Sacred practice. When challenges arise, pause and consciously reframe them with these words. This is training for my brilliance. Feel the energy shift as you declare this truth. Let this new perspective flood your awareness until empowerment naturally replaces complaint, just as sunrise inevitably transforms the darkest night. Practice this perspective shift until it becomes your natural response to life's contrasts. Chapter 28. The Infinity of Choice. Pearl sat before her computer screen, overwhelmed by countless choices. Each click revealed another option, another path, until the sheer magnitude of possibilities left her frozen in indecision. Yet in that moment of stillness, a profound truth emerged. These weren't merely options appearing on a screen, but reflections of infinite potential already existing within the fabric of reality. The universe does not create anew with each choice. It simply reveals what has always been. Like light passing through a prism, consciousness splits possibility into visible streams. Your emotional resonance acts as the selector, drawing forth the timeline that matches your inner frequency. This is why forcing decisions through logic alone often leads to resistance, while choices that sing to your soul unfold with natural grace. Leland, gifted with the art of storytelling, discovered this truth through his nightly tales. As children gathered around him in the village square, he would spin the same story with different endings. Some nights the hero would triumph through courage, other nights through wisdom, and sometimes through surrender. To his amazement, parents began reporting their children's dreams shifted to match the previous evening's conclusion. Without realizing it, Leland was demonstrating how consciousness shapes reality through the power of emotional resonance. This revelation speaks to the deeper mechanics of manifestation. You do not create your destiny so much as select it through the frequency of your being. Every potential already exists, the promotion, the relationship, the breakthrough, waiting in parallel dimensions of possibility. Your task is not to force these realities into being, but to align your vibration with the version you wish to experience. When you understand this principle, choice becomes less about making something happen and more about tuning your awareness to the frequency of what you desire. Like a radio seeking its station, your emotional state determines which reality bandwidth you access. This is why forcing outcomes creates resistance, while allowing them to emerge through aligned feeling states brings effortless manifestation. Sacred practice. Close your eyes and envision multiple pathways of light extending before you. Each represents a potential timeline. Without analysis or judgment, notice which path glows most warmly, beckoning your heart. Step mentally onto this illuminated way, feeling gratitude flood your being as though the desired outcome has already manifested. Let this certainty anchor the chosen reality into your now moment. This is not visualization. It is conscious selection of an existing probability through the power of love-aligned awareness. Chapter 29. The Art of Allowing Miracles. In the vast field of infinite potential, every desire already exists as a completed reality. Yet so often, like Sylvia, you may find yourself caught in the trap of constantly seeking proof, unknowingly creating resistance through your search for evidence. Each time you check whether manifestation is occurring, you subtly declare its absence, pushing away the very abundance you wish to draw near. The deeper truth reveals that allowing is the master key. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up each day to check its progress. Your quiet confidence in nature's wisdom permits the miracle of growth to unfold in its perfect timing. This is the sacred art of allowing. A relaxed certainty that what you've set in motion is already in process. Rodney, a gardener in a small village, spent weeks anxiously monitoring his prized rose garden, checking each bud multiple times daily. His constant observation seemed to freeze the flowers in time, as if his scrutiny itself was holding them back. One afternoon, absorbed in tending to other plants, he forgot about the roses entirely, The next morning, he discovered a garden transformed. Dozens of buds had bloomed overnight when he had finally released his grip on their timing. This simple story illuminates a profound principle. Manifestation flourishes in the soil of trust. Your role is not to force the universe's hand, but to maintain the vibration of peaceful certainty. When you stop straining to see results, you allow the natural flow of abundance to move unimpeded. The wisdom of surrender teaches that your desires are like birds. They fly most freely when you open your hands. Each time you release the need to control the how and when, you create space for infinite intelligence to orchestrate circumstances far beyond what your limited perspective could arrange. Ancient practice of sacred allowing. Find a quiet moment and settle into a comfortable position. Visualize your heart's desire as a beautiful kite, its colors vivid against blue sky. Feel the gentle tug of the string in your hands, then slowly, lovingly, release it into the waiting wind. Watch it soar higher and higher, knowing the same invisible currents that hold stars in place will guide your intention's flight. Smile softly, turning your attention to the simple beauty of the present moment, a breath, a heartbeat, the whisper of leaves. Let this practice remind you that true power lies not in forcing, but in the graceful art of allowing. Chapter 30. The Unstoppable Self. In ancient times, a merchant would hang an empty frame in his shop, claiming it displayed the portrait of an enlightened being. Those who understood smiled, knowing the frame's emptiness was the perfect representation of limitless potential. Viola's journey through self-doubt mirrors your own path to understanding the unstoppable state. Like so many, she believed power meant forcing reality to bend to her will. Yet through patient observation, she discovered that true power flows not from effort, but from alignment, the natural state of being one with universal intelligence. The teaching reveals itself with crystalline clarity. Unstoppable is not a destination, but a recognition. When you align with the infinite field of consciousness, resistance dissolves not through conquest, but through harmony. Your natural state is unlimited. Doubt is merely a temporary forgetting of this truth. Consider Quentin, whose profound understanding manifested in the simplest of acts. By writing "It is done" atop blank chapters, he wasn't practicing magical thinking. He was acknowledging completion exists before beginning. The opportunities that gathered around him weren't attracted by his words, but by his unshakable knowing. He had touched the eternal truth. What you seek is seeking you, waiting only for your recognition of its presence. This wisdom completes the trinity of awareness, intention, and surrender. Awareness recognizes your true nature as infinite consciousness. Intention focuses that consciousness into form. Surrender allows that form to manifest without interference from doubt. You are not becoming unstoppable. You are remembering that you never were anything else. The universe does not need to be convinced of your power. It waits only for you to stop convincing yourself of limitation. The ancient practice. Each morning, before the world's noise intrudes, center yourself in the silence of being. Declare inwardly with quiet certainty, "I am the field experiencing itself as joy." Let these words arise not as affirmation, but as recognition. Then move through your day naturally, allowing this knowing to inform every action. Watch as reality gently reorients itself around your remembered sovereignty. The unstoppable state is not something you achieve. It is what remains when you release the habit of stopping yourself. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. Through these passages, you have walked the veiled corridor from one who seeks truth to one who embodies it. What has been revealed is that Gnostic metaphysics is not a distant doctrine or hidden belief system, but the living framework of consciousness itself, the silent order through which thought, feeling, and intention commune with universal intelligence to give form to experience. You now perceive that the unstoppable state is born not of striving, but of remembrance. It arises the moment you recognize yourself as both the observer and the unfolding, the knower and the known. In this awareness, every breath becomes a sacred utterance, every movement a ritual of presence, and every moment a quiet revelation. The power you once searched for has never stood apart from you. It moves through you as effortlessly as light pours from the sun, once the illusion of limitation is released. Your thoughts are not idle musings, but the first stirrings of worlds. Your emotions are not reactions, but the currents that summon experience into form. Your awareness is not passive. It is the fertile ground from which reality continuously emerges. The sacred art you have rediscovered requires no elaborate rites, no spoken spells, no external authority. Presence is the ritual. Gratitude is the invocation. Recognition is the power. As identity expands beyond appearance, creation flows without resistance. Alignment replaces effort. Surrender dissolves struggle, and what was once called miracle reveals itself as your natural language. You have always been this light. These teachings have not bestowed something upon you, but uncovered what was never absent. The unstoppable is not a future attainment. It is your original state. Awareness clothed in form, the infinite breathing through the finite, eternity expressing itself within time. Let this remembrance settle within you. You are the field knowing itself as life, the light beholding itself in every reflection. This is not symbolism but structure, not belief but law, not poetry but the hidden design of being itself.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.